The third episode of The Last of Us begins with a devastating scene of loss. Tommy invites his brother, the flawed man he knew well, to greet Sarah, Joel's long-dead daughter, with whom he has been reunited in death, as he sits next to his body. Following Joel's vicious murder and the discovery that The Last of Us as we know it is no longer there, this is a gut hit. Though it seems like the series is as unsure of its direction as we are, the pace decisions made in Episode 3 were intriguing. Since The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 2 is primarily about Ellie, and Bella Ramsey has a lot of sequences that she must carry alone. Many of my fears were realized this week. The town's attack and Joel's death left a mess that needed to be cleaned up in Episode 3, but there was something strange about the way the plot developed. Similar to the premiere of Season 2, Episode 3 focuses a lot on world-building and setup, which piques my curiosity about how the game will conclude. But as the show grew to accommodate its constantly expanding universe, the pacing wasn't quite right. Compared to the third episode of Season 1, there's not much to distinguish this episode from the rest of the series. Although it may not be as strong as Joel's in Episode 3, the spirit of long time is still there. For fans who were first introduced to The Last of Us, the third episode of Season 1 marked a significant turning point and solidified the series as more than just a video game adaptation. However, given how brief the season will be, Episode 3 delays for time since they know they already have our attention. My suspicions about the change in The Last of Us after Joel's passing were validated by Episode 3. Ramsey is compelled to telegraph the movements of a person who is grieving and on the verge of making a mistake that could be too great since he spends a large portion of the episode alone himself. Ramsey has a lot of difficulties during the show, but they're not horrible and it's clear they're trying. Isabella Merced, on the other hand, gets to be the source of Dina's lightness, demonstrating how Ramsey is immediately better off when they have a scene partner. But since Ellie has evolved throughout time, the problems aren't limited to Ramsey. There are a few flashes of the Ellie we grew to know last season, sardonic, playful, and determined to be taken seriously even in times of crisis. She will be single-minded for the rest of the season, but I wish we had seen more of this before Joel's passing. I don't understand why The Last of Us acted as though there was ever any doubt about her plans to travel to Seattle, when we were aware from the very end of Episode 2. Even while The Last of Us is setting the stage for the upcoming episodes, the plot didn't have to come to a complete stop. The pace is a bit too fast and too slow, even though Season 3 will focus on the latter half of The Last of Us Part 2. We don't spend any time getting to know the WLF or this new cult-like group, which appears out of nowhere only to be massacred, even though it seems like Ellie and Dina have teleported to Seattle. Even while The Last of Us is setting the stage for the upcoming episodes, the plot didn't have to come to a complete stop. Discussing only emotional development isn't what the show is set up for. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe.